Hello guys, greetings. I want to welcome you again to Daniel the Programmer. So basically in this series of videos, we'll be getting started with JavaScript. So as you can see right here on my screen, JavaScript is a lightweight interpreted programming language with first-class functions. While it is most well known as a scripting language for web pages, many browsers and browser environments use it. You can use it for Node.js, you can run it as a server, you can run it on the client. So basically, that's a basic introduction. So do not confuse JavaScript with the Java programming language. JavaScript is not interpreted Java, but both Java and JavaScript are trademarks. So without much ado, JavaScript has a whole lot of release dates and there are so many of them. So now, before we get started with JavaScript, we'll be playing with the console. I just want you to see an overview of what the console.log is. A static method and it takes in different parameters. Okay, its return value is undefined. And as you can see here, it has different browser compatibility, grow, and it increases with time goes on. So now, how are we going to be accessing our console on the browser? So I'll just want you to open a new tab and just type about colon blank. As easy as that. And now we're going to go to our inspect tools. Okay, as you can see here, if you're a web developer, you should be able to play with the console. Now, in our previous videos, when you're learning HTML and CSS, this is like the box model, and also what we'll be playing with is the console tab. There are other tabs like the network, performance, application, security, and so many more. Now, getting started with how we use the console.log. Okay, firstly, for our console.log, you actually understood that all modern like web browsers use use this. Okay, like mostly Node.js and almost every other JavaScript environment support writing messages to the console.log, like to suit the different learning methods that are involved. So the most common method is the console.log. So I'm going to give console.log like this. So that's just it. So now that you are here, so basically we'll just say hello Daniel, or basically you can use hello world, like depends on you. Like most JavaScript developers, when they get started with their journey, everyone is excited to use hello world. So in this video, I'll just use hello Daniel. Okay. So in this example, yeah, you just see this console.log function. It just basically prints hello Daniel to the console. All right. And now our return type here is undefined, as you see in the documentation. If you scroll here, it tells you, sorry, I've surely missed that. It tells you, oh, sorry, console.log as a static method. It tells you the return type for console.log. It's undefined, like the return value is none. Okay, it is undefined. It has no particular value that is being defined. So it prints out this hello Daniel because like, and it has no explicit return value. So now this can also help us to log in variables. Now, what I may not understand what are variables. Variables are just basically a container where you can store. So I'll just, there are different ways of defining variable. You can use the var, you can use the let, or the const. For example, for constant variables that are not going to change. So we're going to use the first type, or just use the var, and I'll just define it as Dan, like uh, test. Okay, so now you have it as undefined, of which now if you want to see actual word you have actually defined, you have done. Okay, so now the anytime you call done, you have tests. Okay, you see that is actually stored within the console and it can literally be forgotten. Okay, but now you still have it as undefined. That means you don't know the data type. Okay, you don't know if it's a string or whatsoever. So if now, for example, you want to log into or more variables, like you can separate them with different commas, or like spaces automatically be added to it between each argument during concatenation. So now concatenation is a way, and in the coming videos you actually understand what concatenation is all about. So now I will say let this name be equals to Daniel, and let's say let that name be equals to code, right? Like we have defined it. Like I said at the start, I said var const can be used. Okay, so this is what we have. So now I want us to be able to combine them like together. So what can we do? We are still using our console.log method. Okay, now with our console.log method, we can call this name that we have defined, and we can say this name, we can separate it with a comma, and that name, we'll call it that name. All right, so if you notice, every statement always end with a semicolon. So we have our output that is printed this name, that's Daniel, and that name code. So basically that's what we have. You can also use it now for placeholders. Like you can have a form of that sort for placeholder. You can use console.log with combination with placeholder. So I was still going to use, maybe let's say we want to greet, and let's say hey guys, for example. Then you'll be like, who is saying hey guys? Like let's say you can say DTP, for example. All right, so now basically you see me writing log because if we're on VS Code, you just use log, and it's a short way to actually have the output. So now I will want to combine it here and see what we have. Okay, we're going to call the greet, and we have the who actually greeted. So now you say, hey guys, DTP greeted. So now there's, like, you may be wondering, like, I'm just giving you a brief introduction of data types. So if you want to know, like, there's a type of, like, the data type may be used, or you see, like, the type of data type used here for Dan, when I was defining Dan, like, text is a string data type, and that's how you can actually find out data types. So this is just a basic introduction. The coming videos are going to understand. Now, you can also use this to log objects. You may be wondering, what are objects? I always recommend you to the MTN documentation. So you can type, let's see, objects. So in JavaScript, most things are objects. From core JavaScript features like arrays to the browser APIs built up of JavaScript, you can create your own objects to encapsulate related functions and variable into efficient packages and act as handy data containers. You remember at the start of this video, I spoke of data containers as variables. Like, they are data containers where you store basically data and so on. So in JavaScript, majority of things you can learn more of creating objects here. An object is a collection of related data, like the data is related and so on. This usually consists of several variables and functions which are called properties and methods when they are inside objects. So an object has different properties, different methods that are needed. So this is a basic example when you, like, how you create your first object in JavaScript. Okay, so we're going to look a little bit of that, like, but basically just for introduction. So we'll do that using the console.log. So now within here, right, we have a console.log. Okay, now, creating objects, if you see here, you have a curly brace. Okay, so now within here, we're going to start with our curly brace, and we're not going to give a lot of properties to it. We'll just give an email, or I'll just give it I'm not going to give any particular email for now. And names, I can just say basically an empty object, and let's give an ID of or give an ID of 33. And now, okay, now for benefit of that, I'm not going to complete this. Okay, I'm just going to click. Let's say, let me just close it this way. Okay, now you see you have an uncaught syntax error, missing an argument, or also it's very important for you to take note of your errors. Okay, the more you understand errors, the better for you. So you see here the open with curly braces and the close with curly braces, but now I may be wondering, why do we have this error? Okay, so you when you see this, you take note, you look at it keenly, okay, and you see you started by opening and closing, but now at the end you have just a closing tab. So when you try this, you take enter, okay, you see now you have no more error. So now basically this, it has different properties. It has just the email ID and the name. So that's how we log objects in JavaScript. Another thing we can log with the Console.log is what they call the DOM. The DOM is the document object model. If you don't have an idea on the DOM, you can basically come to MTN, which I always recommend, to actually get more understanding about the DOM, and you know how to play with maybe getting document get element by ID, by class, and so on, if you actually understand HTML CSS. So we're going to get into that too in the other playlist. So the document object model is an API that represents and interacts with any HTML or XML based markup language. So the DOM is an document object located in the browser, and it's as a node tree, and so which each node represents part of the document. So the DOM is one of the most used APIs on the web because it allows code running in the browser and so on. So the DOM is very, very important. Like, you cannot do anything without the DOM. So now basically, before in this video, let's try to access the DOM. And sorry, console.log. So if I want to access the DOM, okay, I can just say document.body. But now I feel like we're not going to get anything because basically we have no body, we just have a blank page. Okay, let's just see. We have a blank page, so we cannot be able to access the DOM. But now if you have like an HTML page or of that sort, you can actually access the DOM where you actually see the scripting and all of that sort. So basically, in our next video, we're going to see how we can use the document objects model API, which is an API which is application program interface, a set of features and rules that exist inside a software program. The application enabling interaction with like true software as opposed to a human user interface. So API can be seen as a simple contract, the interface between application, and so it's very, very important. So thank you for watching this video. See you in the next video where we'll be using the DOM API. Bye bye for now.